Oh, hello, I'm Electric Richard, and I was just contemplating peace and how the Xbox 720 really needs to work at that whole Prejudice on Xbox Live thing. Yeah. And you need to help too. Now, with all the rumours about the next Xbox and PS3 floating around, there's one thing that has crossed my mind, and certainly the mind of a few other gaming minds out there, and that is whether the next Xbox, and indeed the next incarnation of Xbox Live, will do anything to sort out all the prejudice, which is flowing through the chat rooms and the servers and everything right now as we speak, as you listen to this. It's pretty bad. Racism, sexism, homophobia, religious persecution, it's all on there. And it doesn't matter whether whether you come on for a quick game or whether you are one of those hardcore gamers, this affects everybody. And there's lots of things that we can do to help curb it. Now, the problem with this topic is that it basically comes down to freedom of speech. We are allowed to say pretty much whatever we want in this country, in the UK, and in the US as well. Pretty much whatever we want. There are some small areas that we're not to delve into. If you're at a football match, you can't, chant racism chants. No, should you? But yeah, they get a bit heavy-handed with that kind of thing. But on Xbox Live, racism, sexism, all that, it's rife, and it's kind of scary actually. It's a bit sad too, just to how many people out there are throwing casual words around which are highly offensive and can really upset a good, nice, flowing gameplay. The price we pay for freedom of speech is that occasionally it's offensive. Occasionally someone says something which we don't like, and that's okay. But when someone's deliberately rude, when someone's trolling, when someone is hating just for the sake of it and saying things just to wind people up, well, there's a problem there. Now, on Xbox Live at the moment, there are ways to report people if they are being racist or sexist or in some way just being a plain dickhead. And that is to go into the settings and report them and go through lots of different features and functions, and eventually you press a few buttons and fill in a little report and it whisks off into the ether, and you never hear about it ever again. That person's blocked from your list, or at least they're muted, and that's it. That's it. They still have their 5-star rating. They still carry on throwing abuse around wherever they go. Nothing really changes, or at least it seems nothing really changes. Now, just for the moment, let's presume you're not one of those haters. You're not one of those people who uses this language callously on Halos and your Call of Duties. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. You're probably wondering, Richard, are you serious? Does that really happen? Yes, it does really happen. Since you're already on YouTube, open a new tab and have a little search for racism, sexism on Xbox Live. Just punch those in, see what comes up with. I'll wait for a moment. Here, I'll do a paused face. As you can see, there's quite a lot, and it's all very sad. But if that doesn't prove it, I suggest a website called fatuglyOrslutty.com. On there is loads of examples of the kind of hate that female gamers have been sent playing Xbox Live and various other things, but mainly Xbox Live, by the idiots who play with them. Everything from get your tits out, get naked, I'll give you some gamer points if you get naked for me, you make me a sandwich, and lots of references to sex and sluttiness and whoriness. It's really sick. Also, I suggest you look up someone called Anita Sarkeesian. She is a gaming journalist who put together, she runs the Feminist Frequency, I think it is online. It's basically a website dedicated to looking at how women are treated in mass media, particularly in video games. And she is quite a smart cookie. Thanks to other news organisations like New Statesman, for instance, and journalist Helen Lewis. The trouble of Anita Sarkeesian, so I have to get her name right, Sarkeesian, is well documented, well plighted. She put together a Kickstarter. Great. This Kickstarter would look deeply into female characters in gaming and just how they are marginalised and how they are personified, and how each one is a very strong stereotype. Brilliant. It needs to be done. It needs to be said. Someone has to go out there and make this kind of point, make this kind of knowledge freely available, and point to it and go, hey, look, that's a thing. We need to work on this. But what resulted is when she put her video on YouTube were some of the worst comments, some of the single worst comments a female could ever have online, and they were disgusting, all from pretty much hardcore gamers, and all of them were telling her that she was useless and that she should do female stereotypical things like cooking or sex and or getting naked. They even put together some very nasty websites about her. They even went out of their way to redo her Wikipedia page with some nasty, horrible graphic images on there and call her basically, I'm summarising here, a slut. Now, you may say that a lot of the people on Xbox Live who are doing this kind of thing are ignorant. They're just boys. Oh, let them be boys. Boys will be boys. Well, that is not an excuse. Not an excuse at all. That is ignorance. I asked one of the commenters on her video if they were willing to have a chat with me about this kind of thing, and they said, nope, no need, buddy. I'm not a troll. It's true, if she spent the time to learn the skills required to make video games, she could create her perfect protagonist in the perfect feminist world rather than trying to create animosity towards existing game characters that she doesn't really like. That's what we call missing the point. I won't name him here on Electric Richard, but sites like Fat, Ugly or Slutty are very happy to name these idiots, and I suggest you go on there, have a look at their tags and maybe block them from your friends list on Xbox Live before they even have the chance to ruin your game. Here's the thing, PR companies, they don't really help. It's all very well and good having a gaming team like Pink Cynic or Frag Dolls, but when the team is specifically female and they're rolled out to promote items, anything by Ubisoft for instance, or whichever game company it is Frag Dolls are attached to, the whole uniqueness and the message that they're trying to send just goes straight down the drain. Then of course there's the Dead Island Riptide Zombie Beta Edition. It seems that the people who made Dead Island, that mediocre zombie game, have decided for their sequel to release it in a special box set. That special box set looks like a severed woman's torso in a bikini. I kid you not. No head, there's a gruesome bit missing with blood and stuff. No arms, same there. It's cut off at the waist because that's where the box bit is, but really it's pretty grim and horribly demeaning of women, very much so. Then there's the brilliant video game Borderlands, the very pro-decision of this brilliant video game to have a girlfriend mode. Yeah, that's a real thing. The game's a little easier. It's very sad indeed. There's a great story online somewhere as well, if you have a look for this, where a gamer on Xbox Live changed his tag to something slightly Islamic because, you know, that's where he was from. And of course the ridicule and the torrent of rage that came towards him on I think it was Halo, he was playing Halo 4, or Halo, no, it was Halo 3, was pretty prolific. Again, it's all on YouTube, have a look on there. If you're going to use the word gay to describe something that's rubbish, or you're going to use the N-word to describe someone who's beaten you, or you think a rape joke is funny, or you think that talking down to women because they should be making you a sandwich is the way to get into someone's head after they've beaten you on a game, well, that makes you a seriously pathetic person. If you want to rip on someone after they've beaten you, you rip on their ability to play, you rip on the avatar choice they've made, you rip on the weapons they're using. Don't rip on the fact that they're better than you. They're just better than you. Get over it. Go and play. Go and learn how to be better than them. And let's face it, if you play Call of Duty or Halo often enough, you will beat someone in a very annoying way, in a way that annoys them so much that they want to turn around and rip into you. And let them, because you do that to them. It doesn't matter if they're male or female, black or white, Christian, Islamist, a Jedi, it really doesn't matter. What matters is how they play the game. What matters is whether they're good or not. What matters is whether you can beat them or not. And those are the elements you pick on them for. Not even if they've got a big nose, and I should know I've got a big nose, I get picked on that a lot. Those are the kind of things that you can do to help change this. If you are a young gamer, if you are using this kind of language, then stop, just stop. If you think this kind of language doesn't really exist, take a look at my comments. I'm sure someone's going to come on there and tell me how crap I am for talking about these things. And usually someone does. In fact, have a look at some older literature videos and some of the older comments. You'll see some serious hate in there. And gaming is the first subject to attract that kind of hate. I know from my past as well, from reviewing things like Call of Duty and Battlefield in print, that yeah, you get some pretty vitriolic responses and comments. And it's not disheartening. It doesn't make you feel that you shouldn't have written what you've written. It makes you feel that gaming is going to suffer, that gaming is going to go down the drain because idiots like that are the most vocal. So what are the solutions? Well, there are loads. Like I said, I've just mentioned a few. Make some personal rules for when you're online and you're gaming. Things that make you a better person, a better gamer, a more polite person. But more importantly than that, try Gamers Against Bigotry. Now that was a website which is set up to, well, as it says in the tin, it's Gamers Against Bigotry. Funnily enough, it was hacked after it started by gamers who are obviously pro-bigotry, and yet they exist, and they're very happy to let everyone know that they exist. Yeah, again, very, very sad. Luckily though, Gamers Against Bigotry is up and running again. I suggest you have a look at that, make a donation, help them out, and yeah, join in the discussion there. Find out what you can do to help to further their cause. And I thoroughly recommend a video on a website called Penny Arcade. That is where you'll find extra credits, one of the greatest game lectures series ever. They've done a very, very enlightening episode about harassment online, and they come up with some brilliant, absolutely brilliant ideas on how it can be combated within the games themselves. Little things like if someone is silenced too often, that they're automatically silenced when they go online for the next game. Or if they have too many black balls against them for being racist or being sexist, that they are kicked offline for a certain amount of time. And since most of these kids are really just kids, you know, teenagers, I think what a really good punishment system would be that every time they're a bit racist or sexist, when you report them, it sends an email to their parents. Yeah? That will shut them up, something chronic. Because let's face it, if the parents really knew what these kids were saying and doing, they would be mortified, absolutely mortified. And that doesn't mean that parents out there, if you're watching, you should fight the online world. It's not going away, it's going to be there forever. What you should do is try and encourage your children not to be so hateful. Of course, you may think that little Johnny's a nice kid and he's never hateful. Yeah, he is. He probably very much is. If you give him a chance to call someone a bitch or an N-word or something like that, he'll take it because there are no repercussions. And that's where the Xbox 720 needs to succeed. It has to have a system in place which works, which actually punishes crappy behaviour. Yeah, I know Xbox 720 is rumoured to be using Skype instead of the normal chat system. Even so, there still has to be some strict regulations in place. So Microsoft, Xbox, I know you guys are working with the Extra Credits folks and some other folks to bring in a tougher set of systems. I want to see it before the 720 comes out, frankly. I want to see it on Xbox 360 as soon as possible. So get on with it. Well, that's made me feel quite old-fashioned, a little bit old-fashioned, but frankly it needs to be said because it's bloody annoying. Anyway, I have been an always shall be Electric Richard. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave some comments. I know you're going to have some things to say about what I've just said. If you're going to be negative, in fact, no, please be negative. Be as damning and as rude to me as you like. I want other people to see the kind of comments that Xbox Live Gamers has to put up with. In the meantime, please check out fatuglyorslutty.com. It's quite an eye-opening site. I really recommend it. Bye!